Center Mala. It is a cosmopolitan area where Kenyans are investing in residential plots due to infrastructural growth, less congestion, great ambience, and scenic views of Kilimambogo Hills. Invest in an 8-acre plot at Gardenia Estate, Kangundo Road at 750,000 Kenya shillings only. Book a plot with 80,000 Kenya shillings and enjoy a flexible payment plan. Title deeds are ready. Site visits every Wednesday and Saturday.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to see you today. We have an interesting topic that we'd like to cover, and every Friday, every other Friday, after every 2 weeks, we come back to you, especially to young people. We want to do transformational stories. We want to tell you about stories of hope, how to progress in life based on my experience, and me more so talk to young people. Some of these topics also affect people who may not be young. I'm talking about people who are more than 35 years of age, according to our government. The big question today: work abroad or home? Where can you succeed faster? That's the big question today. And we do these topics for the benefit of our people in our country, so that you can be able to give information. I've had an advantage of traveling to what we call diaspora. I've been there for many years, of course going for a month, 2 months every year, or even 3 months. Of course, I've interacted with thousands of Kenyans on a much closer level. And I've also hustled in our country from the time I left college. So I'm trying to do a comparison of life out there and life here. If I was given a chance today, would I go abroad or would I stay here in Kenya? My name is Reuben Kimani. I'm the CEO, Username Investment Limited. Welcome to this channel. Remember, we are live in Facebook, we are live in Instagram, we are live also in YouTube. Please follow us there. Also tell us, I know we have customers, so many of them in diaspora at this moment. We'd like to thank you for being our customers. You have experienced life out there. We have thousands of our customers in this country. Thank you so much for supporting us. You have hustled and experienced life in the country. As we go along with this debate, this discussion, please comment there and tell us where you think you can succeed faster. Is it outside the country, what we call abroad, or is it here in the country? And I will start with the story of Batanga Nambus. But before I do that, there was a statistics I came across at some point that pointed that more than 50% of young people, they want to escape from Kenya for obvious reasons. And that statistic was very, for me, is like a calamity. Why do people want to leave their own country further? Of course, there are reasons for that, but let us think. Would you like to work in Kenya and succeed, or go abroad and succeed? Basically, where can you succeed faster? And we are going to give you details and statistics and views so that you can be able to succeed anywhere where God has put you. If you go abroad, thank God you got that opportunity. But if you are still in the country, there are people who are more successful than if they were to go abroad. Basically, there are people who are very successful abroad who came from Kenya, and there are those who are so miserable and they came from Kenya. There are people who are very successful locally. There are people who are doing so poorly in our country. So Batanga Nambus got one of his stories in the dailies. He schooled. He went to study in the US, and after working there for some time, he came back to Kenya to teach in the university. That's one of the things he says he regrets about. And from his analysis, he says he would have made more money in Kenya. That is very interesting for people who want to go abroad. Having come from a Sea community, he was obliged or expected to build a house in the village. I don't think it's Kisii community alone. All of us in our communities, we are expected to build homes abroad. And at some point there was a debate about dead capital and some other stories. That is a story for another day. We are obliged to build there. And following the tradition, as he did, of course, when he came back, he could not have gone back to Kisii where he had a house, which he has built, no mortgage, no loans, nothing. He had to come to Gelesho and stay there and rent. He feel like he regretted doing that. The money he got from the US was sufficient, of course, to buy some house in Gelesho, but instead he was paying rent in Nairobi when he has a home up country. I hope that makes sense. Also, when you come from the US, you have a big man. We respect our people in diaspora. And of course, for most people, and this is something nice for our friends, our families, and our customers in diaspora. You see, there's that notion, and people have this big notion about the successful life you are staying there. First, I've met so many of you. So people have this Waheshimiwa kind of need, which is a good thing because you guys are respected. You work extremely hard. But there's that notion that is above and beyond. And so people expect you to go for politics, and that was the case for Batanga Nambus here. They were saying if he doesn't have a house in the village, they will not give him a seat because it doesn't look like a resident there. Quite an interesting story. But one of the things I picked from this story is his assertion after standing and working in the US, his assertion that he felt he would be more successful in Kenya. Why is that? Let's go back to the story. Working home on abroad, where can you succeed faster? Tell us there, because you might be abroad or here, what experience you have and where you think you can succeed faster and for what reason. Do you know you can help so many young Kenyans who have these notions that they can only succeed abroad when you have opportunities here in Kenya where they can take. Your story can inspire someone to actually succeed here in the country, to open their eyes, of course in a positive way. In 2020, the Kenyan working diaspora sent 300 billion shillings. That's not a joke. That's a parallel economy. Remember, this is what has been recorded by central bank. The other mechanism of sending money, which has not been recorded, people who even come with stuff from the US and stuff like that. We are talking about even maybe more than 500 billion, even a trillion shillings. The Kenyan economy, the GDP was 11.2 or 4 trillion on there. What I'm telling you, we have a separate economy being run by Kenyans who are in the diaspora. We clap for them. These people work hard. I have interacted with them, and I can tell you, for those Kenyans who believe going to abroad is a joke, those people work extremely hard. You have to go there and change your values and your work ethic. One of the things I admired about Kenyans outside the country, the abroad, is their hospitality. We were treated extremely well anywhere we went, whether it's in the US, in Australia, in the UK. And those who are watching me can attest to that. We even feel inadequate when the same Kenyans come to our country because it looks like we are always busy. So I thank you for that. The other thing I learned is that they take the values in those countries. Those people are able to keep time. They have serious work ethic. If you go to Europe, in the US, wherever you find Kenyans and you don't keep time, those guys will leave you. They have to be somewhere by this time, and I really admired that. Despite this huge remittance of 300 million, a good number of Kenyans are forced, of course, to work long hours. Of course, there are those, when you go there, and I have listened to videos from them, I'm giving you my experiences, what I learned from them, and some of them have even shared their own stories, and you can also comment here. So there are people who work one shift depending on the job. These are lands where their forefathers built big opportunities for them, which we can also do to our country, and they do these remittances. So some of them work one shift, two shift, depending on the people really work hard there. So there's this misconception, especially from young Kenyans who may not know. They believe that Kenyans in diaspora, or the belief that the diaspora is a much better place, even for people who don't work. You'll be very surprised if you go there and you are not someone who knows how to work hard. You can't survive in that environment. It's only for people who work hard. The environment is way better than our country in terms of jobs. That one we don't disagree. Infrastructure, in terms of the economy, those countries are doing well. You can even be paid if you are a citizen. You can even be paid even when you are not working. If you look at the COVID in the US, the stipend they were getting, small businesses, something that we do not enjoy in our country. So the opportunities are bigger there. But it matters the person who went there. They also make a lot of money. That one is not in doubt. Of course, maybe not billions, or to be able to tell our Kenyan brothers who expect support from them. They don't make billions, but they make enough money maybe to be able to share more than an average Kenyan. An average person working in the US, there is minimum wage and stuff like those guys make money in hours. You can make so much money one day, and they get money jobs much faster from my own observation when I went there. So the point is they get more money than an average Kenyan. That's why they are able to send so much, and they have that hospitable hearts, and I thank them for that, to be able to assist us. But that misconception that they make billions is not true. I think of course there are those who are in business, some of them do, but a normal person working there may not make billions, but they make above average amount of money. Of course you have these sentiments. What I'm trying to say is this picture that all of us have painted. I'm talking to young people today. You think you can idle around here, go to the US and succeed. Of course that might not be true, as much as there are more opportunities. There's a study that was done. A normal, an average Kenyan in US spending 16,000 shillings per week on food alone. I went to one of the homes and I realized I asked quite a number of questions. I was trying to find out about real estate, the cost of houses, the cost of rent and stuff like that. And I realized the rent was $2,000 for an average 3-bedroom house somewhere in one of the cities. That's not a joke. That is rent around 200,000. Then you spend like 16,000 on food and many other expenses. We are talking about someone who might have to spend $500,000 per month. Of course, they make more money, but they spend a lot. It's good to understand that. It's not like the way you can get a house somewhere in Kasarani for 20,000 shillings. These countries are way different. Some cities are too expensive. You go there, you work, you get $1,000,000 shillings, you spend 800,000. Those guys work hard. There's that misconception by many Kenyans you ignore, but we also understand our people. Sometimes there are very few opportunities in our country. And then if you are to ask me, once I left college, or even after high school, even at some point in my life, I would have easily taken those opportunities. And I would tell someone, if you get those opportunities, please take them very fast. But at the end of this discussion, I also want to tell you other things that are more important than just going abroad or staying here. And that is the purpose of this discussion. Asking where can you succeed faster, the answer will surprise you. The other misconception about working abroad, of course, some people think you can retire early once you bag a job abroad, but that might not be true. You make so much money, then you stop working. Of course, it might be true for those who pursue angles that might be oriented to entrepreneurship and business. Maybe you sell an app, the way you had Instagram was sold for $1 billion and such stuff, and then you retire. But life is not like that for majority of us. Majority of us, you have to keep working and investing and stuff like that. It is possible, but we are saying for a majority of the percentage, for the majority of the people, that is not how things work. Some people also have misconception about life is easy. Let me tell you, we used to go there, we used to sell, we used to sleep at 2 a.m. most of the time, so that, you see, there are shifts and timings. We used to do that because we want to meet Kenyans there when working up to a certain hours in the night. So we had to avail ourselves. Our sleep pattern was so irregular because we wanted to interact with them. And then we realized their life is not as easy as Kenyans think. I'm not saying life is easy in Kenya, but their life is not as easy as the misconceptions do. From what I understand, we used to sleep at 2 a.m., wake up so early, meet them at some after their shifts have ended. We used to be extremely flexible. It was challenging for us, but we learned a lot. We learned about what people go through when they go there. They make the money, but it comes at a cost. They work for long hours, but they make the money. They do the job. I also learned that if you stay there for quite a while, whatever you are doing, you have to develop your work ethic. You have to be very serious, which is a positive thing. There's also misconception about you have so much time, you go for a holiday. Remember, if you are working, even here in Kenya, if you're employed somewhere, you have to take leave, right? It is the same thing there. There's nothing like that. You can take holidays anytime you want because you're in Europe. Those people have so many working hours to they have very little time to be able to do so many things because they went there to work, to be able to make a living. I'm not saying for all of them, but this is some of the observations that I made. The last misconception is that automatically if you go abroad you get it. That is not true. You have to work hard for it. If you go to America, there's something they call the American dream, which I was trying to understand what it is. The American dream, anyone who works hard, that's the belief. If you work hard, it doesn't matter who you are, you'll be able to make it. There's some truth to that statement from my own experience, especially in that kind of an environment. If you work hard, you make something for yourself, which is very encouraging. But it doesn't mean if you land to Seattle Airport, Washington, D.C., if you land to Dallas or Boston, you automatically starting becoming big. It is not true. What I'm trying to say from all this, you have to work hard, even if you go abroad. Let's talk about Kenya. Of course, this is the bigger experience that I have. For my friends who are in diaspora, of course, there are things I might have said which might not be 100%. We would like you to help us so that you can enlighten our people here, especially our young people. Just comment there, tell us where you think you can succeed more and some of the things that people don't know about being abroad. You have more experience than I do. You can help most of our young people who may not be able to come there work hard here and still succeed. There are people who are waiting for a jackpot. There are people who are waiting for a ticket, a visa, so that they can succeed, yet they are sleeping on opportunities in our country. We want to help them so that they can take advantage. If that time comes and you get a green card, we say hallelujah. If that time comes and you get a ticket to go outside the country and work there, we thank God for it. But before then, there are things you can do here and succeed. I left my college, I hustled and looked for jobs like any other young person, and I can tell you jobs are not forthcoming in economies like our. People have to really work hard. People have to start small businesses and stuff like that. But I also learned for any Kenyan who has work ethic, you have the right attitude, you are willing to go out there and look for opportunities on daily basis without giving up, there's something for you. One of the things we struggle as employers, and I tell you this from username perspective, I've looked at CVs, is to get someone who is employable. We have graduates, we have young people from college, but what we don't have is employable graduates. It is a calamity. You get like 100 people, you can only find less than 5 who you can work with, because work is about work ethics, about the right attitude, it's about somebody who is willing to immerse himself and deliver value for you. Most young people are not willing to do that. No, that's where I'm going. So in our country, as much as the opportunity are not there, if you have those qualities, you'll go very far. You have to start somewhere, maybe volunteership, internship, just somewhere where people will observe what you are doing. There's this guy who did not have anything. He enrolled as an intern somewhere. He was not being paid. But at some time he had a very good attitude, and everyone was asking, see, we have managers in departments, how he can get that person and give him a job. So almost because they realize this person is uniquely different from millions of young people in our country. What I'm trying to say, there are things you can learn that can help you succeed here locally, and it is the same requirement if you go out there. Scientifically, only 8% of people live to achieve their lifetime goals. This is a research that was done. 8%, 92% of people in the world, not just in Kenya, they don't achieve their life goals. And the question is why? What I would like to say after this discussion, I've had an experience, a good experience abroad, and we'll keep going there. We used to talk with friends overnight, even for 2 hours. Even if I pick a phone right now, I call someone in the US, those customers and people we became friends. They'll give you stories for so long, and you'll understand these things. So I got that experience, and I have the real experience from our country. And what I can tell you, where you can succeed more, it is either. Of course, you have a higher chance if you go abroad because the infrastructure, the systems there, the economies there, the jobs there are more. But that is not the determinant. The determinant is the person. The underlying rules for successful and fulfilling life are the same whether you are working locally or abroad, as much as the opportunities are more there. And I would like to mention some few of them, which are, I think, most people know already. They already know this. But I would like to maybe put some more focus and tell you the truth. It matters what kind of a person you are, what values you have, what experiences you have, what type of a person you are. I think that's the end of this discussion. You can succeed here or abroad depending on the type of person. Number one, you must have a clear financial career goals and in all areas of your life. In previous discussions, and especially for our young people, you must have clear goals. Is it in your career? Where do you want to go in the short term, in 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years? You need to ask yourself those hard questions and answer them. In your financial life, we talked about financial literacy. Financial life is very important. That's why people immigrate. You see more opportunities. You can be able to make a better living and create a life out of that. You need to know where you are going. Other areas of your life as well. Ask those hard questions. If you answer them correctly, you'll know maybe US is not for me. I've been to Australia, I've been to UK. It is not for me. I can succeed better here. There are stories about people who went to the US and came back, and they can tell you they don't want to go back there. Then, for a young man who is struggling to go there because of the imagination of, they'll wonder, why, what is this guy talking about? And you're asking you to share your stories there. Number two, you need to embrace change. Of course, change is difficult. I'm speaking to majority of people who are like me, majority young people. Change is difficult. I learned that when you go there, and I listened to the story of one of our friends, and I think it is in YouTube, one of a very successful lady in the UN. She said the first time she went there, she was asked to do a job which she never thought she ever do in her life, something that is a bit scary. And I sympathized with her. Of course, life in the US is not all about that. There are people who do all manner of work. But at some point, she got to adapt and accept that that is the only first job she could get. Basically, she was saying it doesn't matter who you are, even if you are a minister, a politician here. If you go to the US, everyone starts from scratch because the education system, they might not recognize your certificates. Do you stay and you have to pay bills, you have to pay your house. You have to start from somewhere, and that's where most people start. So are you willing, when you go there, to adapt and change? Somebody who has the characteristic I was talking about, work ethic, good character and attitude, somebody who has responsibility quotient, they understand, for me to progress, I have to start from me, I have to prove myself, and this situation is temporary. Number three, you have to perfect and learn your skills. This is for most young people. We covered a video and we are saying, as you wait to join university, for those who left high school, you can do short courses that can give you money on the go. People are riding, doing riders here. You just need a bike, you register with some of these apps, you become a rider and you make money. Basically, you just need a driving license. You can cook. There are so many events in this city. Over the weekend, people they charge 2,500. The one I have interacted with can be making 2,500 every weekend. A short course that can take you 6 months and stuff like that. But for life, you need to have the right skill set. People are not looking for big papers. When I talked about employability, specific username, They are looking for people with skills and value. Remember that all the time. You are here in username investment, in Safaricom, in KRA, in big organization, in Amazon, in wherever, because you have the skills and the value they need. So focus on perfecting and learning skills that matter. Of course, you need to improve yourself every day. And number 4, and you don't need to give up. My friend in the US, that lady, I got inspired by that video, and she was saying she accepted that is where she needed to start. And then she realized she could not give. She even fired, of course, she even resigned from that job, but then she went back after realizing that's where basically she learned that she could not give up in that terrain. Of course, after some time, she started her own business, which is very inspiring in a country like US. I've watched, there are shows that are being brought. I think one specific I would like to mention, like there's one by called Daring Abroad, and many others that I keep watching. You see people in the US, people in the UK, in Australia, people even in Africa, in Accra, wherever. They are doing big things and they are from the country. Basically, they learned the system, they were not giving up, they learned the skills. Of course, they have embraced change in those countries and they are prospering. Of course, there is the question of giving back to make a difference, and of course, being grateful. There's something called gratitude. Maybe it's not so emphasized in a society like ours. Understanding that you have a beautiful country called Kenya, for those who are here, and there are things that God can enable you to do here and succeed. The same thing if I'm given an opportunity to go out there, understanding that I have an opportunity in the US and there are things that I can do in the US and succeed. That, of course, is called being grateful for the opportunities that are presented to you. And of course, I'm saying if you don't find opportunities here, and if you watch a video like this one and many others in YouTube, and you are more informed and realize US is my thing, I would encourage you to go there. Maybe that's where you would succeed. But there are other people who, out of not having information like this one, they go to other countries, yet they would have succeeded here way better. Then they go there and become miserable. It has happened. So this information is important, especially for majority of people. I've gone to embassies. When I was going for my visa of US embassy, of course, there are so many people who are denied and there are those who are accepted. And could see so many people who are outside the gate who were even crying because they could not imagine that they have lost. But I can also tell that person has really tried to go there because they believe that's the only place where they can make it. And people make it. But maybe if they were to have a lot of information, as they apply for those visas, there are things they would have done here and succeeded so well, and maybe not have a need to go out there. That is the basis of this discussion today. Let's go back. Where can you succeed faster? Please comment there, engage us, and tell us where you think you can succeed faster. For those who are in diaspora and those who are in the country, give us stories so that you can educate our people and be of benefit. Somebody may read your comment and realize, my friend, I've lost an opportunity somewhere in Nairobi and I have been thinking about going to Australia. There is no good reason. If you're in those countries, also tell us. It is not a bed of roses. You must have these characteristics before you come here to the US, to Australia, to Dubai, before you go to France. There are these things that you must know. Most of the time, this information is not shared. So where can you succeed faster? It boils down to the person. I will surprise you. It is, some people will say, you can succeed faster in the US, but there are people who are there and they are miserable. Other people will say, no. I think we can succeed faster in the country, but there are also a big number of people who are miserable. Let's get this clear. There are more opportunities, more jobs, bigger economies in abroad. Of course, diaspora, we are talking about countries like US, UK, Australia. Of course, there are other people who are in our African countries like Uganda, neighboring Tanzania and stuff like that. Of course, the economies are much smaller. But if you are talking about bigger economies, the economies are bigger, the opportunities are more. But people have failed there. Why? Because it boils down to the person. There are these characteristics that I have just mentioned. You need to have a clear goal. Ask yourself hard questions. You need to be a person who embraces change. If you realize you have applied for US visa and did not come, find a way of succeeding here in the country. Have a good work ethic, good attitude, somebody who looks at opportunities. You are not giving up. Despite, you see, we have a lot of negative media in our country, such that you don't find positive news to tell you there's a path you can follow and still make it. Because you may deny the visa, and that is not the end of life. Stuff like that. Of course, not giving up and being grateful. So basically, it boils down to the person. You can succeed anywhere depending on your mindset, your goals, your attitude, your work ethic, your capability to take advantage of opportunities as they come. People will always have expectation of you about life. This is another area I need to cover, and I learned. There are people who realize US was not their thing, UK was not there, but they can't come back because people have expectations of them. My uncle is in the US and they have been sending money. That particular shame, and I understand that. But of course, it is very important to understand yourself and understand people will always have expectations, so that we live our own lives defined by our own goals, our own purposes. God, of course, have given us roles in this life and purposes ahead of us, and that is what we should pursue. The last thing I would like to say, especially for our young people, please don't succumb to pressure. Pressure from our friends, from our family, and many other people out there. Maybe you want to go out there, by all means necessary. Yesterday I was listening for somebody was giving us a story about a family friend who moved from South Africa to Brazil through a ship. They hid in the ship. Very of course they got there, but no, of course not without fracas yet. They are almost thrown in the sea. Interestingly, they had to, of course, create a story about how they are refugee in Kenya, how they are from Sudan, because there was fighting then, and these guys, of course, decided to help them. Of course, he went to Brazil, got some off jobs here and there, until a Southern Sudanese came and said, this guy is a Kenyan, and he was deported. He came in slippers. It's not a joke. Another guy, of course, this was unfortunate. Guy got into the aeroplane and got into London. I think you remember that story. There are people who want to go to diaspora by all means because of misconception. Get information. Don't succumb to any pressure from people, from friends, from parents, and from the society. You can succeed here if you have some quality, as much as the opportunities are few. I told you, you're always looking for people as employers, people who have employable, good attitude, good work ethic. You can get something done that is of value to username investment or to other organizations. If you are like that kind of a person, it doesn't matter where you go, you will succeed. And I would like to convince you to be that person who can succeed in any environment. But if you have an opportunity here, take it. If you have an opportunity to go outside the country, abroad, to bigger economies, please take it. And remember, you can't succeed without those values. Even if you have a lake full of fish, those are the big economies. Thank you so much for being in this discussion. Please follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel also. We want to be able to be about impacting people. Remember, every other Friday after 2 weeks, we'll be covering topics about life, topics about young people. We are more about transformation. We want to be able to move life together with our young people here and many other people who can benefit from these topics. Number 2, we have real estate in Kenya comes every Thursday, every 2 weeks on alternating basis. So next week on Thursday, we'll have about investment, about real estate, about the markets. But on Friday, we cover topics to do with life, inspiring our young people. We have that responsibility as Reuben. This is something I'm passionate about. I want to share what I know, something that can benefit someone. An advantage I did not have when I left college. We do not have this kind of information. So we are sharing so that we can benefit you, even as we do learn business and provide the current and upcoming generation with a place they can call home. Thank you for watching. I want to wish you a happy Friday, a nice weekend, and a good afternoon.